Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. Big surprise, big Superman week, but Marvel released a new video from Avengers Doomsday. They're filming inside the TVA with the characters. This is the full video of that.
It's almost like you get to your end position a little quicker. Meaning like, not don't walk faster, but just get your face closer to him quicker. You're sort of like, when you walk over to the other side, you're kind of like a little bit further away, and then you get closer.
Notice during the clip, they're giving direction to the characters, telling them to follow closer in the scene. It sounds like they're walking around inside this room in the TVA. There aren't a ton of markings on the walls to tell you exactly where they are in the TVA, if they're in a room that we've been in before or a brand new room, but the green color and design language seems similar to the temporal loom control room that we saw during Loki Season 2. Tom Hiddleston has already revealed that God Loki is coming back as part of all this, but we'll see what happens with the other Loki variants like Alligator Loki. Some of that stuff they might save for Secret Wars. There's a lot here to unpack. Chris Hemsworth was also talking about Avengers Doomsday and what they were and were not doing, so we'll break that down too. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. What's probably going down during this scene that they're filming is it's not just the TVA characters. I would expect some of the main MCU heroes and other characters to be at the TVA the same way that Deadpool and Wolverine visited the TVA briefly during that movie, and also God Loki, because he's so connected to the TVA and those characters, they're probably bringing him back through that part of the plot too. They haven't said which other TVA-specific characters are coming back for Avengers Doomsday because they just did the chair watch for like the big main MCU heroes, the X-Men, the other really big Fantastic Four characters, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. What I think is going on here is that some of the main MCU heroes and other characters are at the TVA the same way that Deadpool and Wolverine visited briefly, and the TVA characters are taking them around in the TVA and they're working on the current problem of all the incursions in the different universes being destroyed. Also, pretty easy prediction to make that it has something to do with what Doctor Doom is doing, and the TVA has been monitoring him going across universes. The Russos did reveal that they're adapting a version of Time Runs Out for the actual story, so I do think that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will be doing something similar to what Doctor Doom was doing during that storyline without the whole Molecule Man plot, like they'll be changing that part of the story.
The Doctor is in, and we're talking Doom!
Usually Marvel brings Hunter B-15 back for a lot of TVA-specific scenes. She's kind of an administrator now there after the events of Loki Season 2. They didn't say if Ouroboros is coming back or if Owen Wilson is coming back, but Miss Minutes, pretty easy prediction to make, she will also be coming back in some form. Like, why would you do the TVA and then not do Miss Minutes? Marvel's actually been using Tara Strong's Miss Minutes, like they bring Tara Strong back to do Miss Minutes for a lot of other tie-in promos for all the stuff that they're doing. Just everything at Marvel in general, not just the movie stuff. You remember that at the end of Loki Season 2, God Loki destroyed the temporal loom effectively, or he allowed it to be destroyed, once they learned He Who Remains, Kang's truth, and what was really going on with the temporal loom, like the secret that he'd been keeping from them this whole time. It was only ever designed to be a failsafe for just the sacred timeline, He Who Remains specific timeline, in the cycle of destruction where it would blow up all of reality, like all timelines would blow up, then the sacred timeline would reset essentially, would just keep happening forever. There was no way to actually stop it. Loki then learned to control his time travel powers over many centuries, became God Loki with control over time without needing technology, then used those powers to allow the multiverse to grow to infinity without destroying itself. But in order for that to work, he had to sit in that higher dimension on his throne, being the gardener, being the protector of the multiverse for the rest of all time, for infinity essentially. So naturally, when the Russos announced that they were doing a version of Time Runs Out into Secret Wars, the whole idea is that the multiverse collapses into a single battle world because of what Doctor Doom is doing. The incursions were already happening, the Beyonders were already trying to destroy the multiverse, so there weren't any one particular reason why universes were being destroyed, because Doctor Doom himself was also trying to destroy universes to try and slow things down. We've already seen a couple different characters in different movies do bad things to cause universes incursions to happen, like Spider-Man with his spells, Doctor Strange during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness messing up with the multiverse, everything that happened during the events of the Marvels movie with Monica Rambeau getting stuck in the X-Men universe, also an incursion.
You somehow crossed through a tear in space-time. You are now in a reality parallel to your own.
So there are a lot of questions with all that going down and everything that's going to happen during Avengers Doomsday, why God Loki would allow that to happen if his whole job, like his one job, you had one job to do, everybody remembering the Thor Ragnarok jokes, to protect the multiverse and keep that from happening. Currently, the only logical ways that we know about that make sense are that Doctor Doom is able to find magic powerful enough to stop Loki from being the gardener of the multiverse, like get him off of that throne, or something else that's big enough happens to cause him to leave the throne long enough for more incursions to happen in the multiverse to actually finally collapse. We already know that they're changing a significant part of the Time Runs Out comic book storyline so that it fits with what they've already done in the live-action movies, and they set up some of these concepts during Deadpool and Wolverine. We also already know that they're going to be using the Void as their version of Battleworld because it already kind of functions that way in the MCU. Kind of like a dumping ground for the multiverse, everything that's left over the trash of the multiverse. I also believe they're changing the Molecule Man subplot, replacing it with another character or twist, possibly anchor beings, because it was announced during Deadpool and Wolverine, Sean Levy said Kevin Feige made a big deal about him including the whole bit about anchor beings in their universes dying when they died. That wasn't something that the Deadpool and Wolverine people came up with. Kevin Feige came to them and was like, do it this way, make it this way. So it's possible he did that in anticipation of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. During the Time Runs Out storyline, they use Molecule Man for this whole twist where he is tied to each different universe, so Doctor Doom goes around killing Molecule Man in different realities to cause those universes to be destroyed. Kevin Feige also refused to say who the MCU anchor being was, so it's possible that we'll actually find out during Avengers Doomsday. Maybe Doctor Doom, early theory, comes to the MCU trying to kill the anchor being to destroy the MCU. I think we all assumed the TVA would somehow get involved with this and God Loki would get involved because the TVA's whole thing is that they are time cops, the police of the multiverse. So they're probably monitoring incursions, they're probably monitoring Doctor Doom if he's going around killing anchor beings or jumping around different universes. For a little while at the end of Loki Season 2, they made it sound like they had actually switched to being the Kang variants authority, like they were just going after He Who Remains variants around the multiverse. If it wasn't clear, though, they continued searching for other really bad actors around the multiverse. Doctor Doom would just be the chief one on that list during Avengers Doomsday, so of course the TVA would be clocking him. So everybody let me know in the comments, what do you think Doctor Doom does to allow the rest of Time Runs Out to basically play out all the multiverse to collapse if God Loki technically has the power to stop that from happening? Like, Doctor Doom just has to do something to deal with God Loki, and magic is probably the easiest way around that.
His emergence set the stage for countless battles that'll shape the very fabric of the timeline.
Loki is now one of the most powerful characters inside the live-action movie multiverse in general. Franklin Richards showing up real soon too. He'll be up at the top of that tier list. There was literally just a Fantastic Four trailer where they were joking about how powerful Franklin Richards is going to be within the context of the movie. Like, characters in the movie will be questioning how powerful Franklin is going to be. And because we were just here in the TVA during Deadpool and Wolverine, people asking what's going on with the two of those characters. Does Deadpool still have that TVA tempad he had in the post-credit scene that allows him to open portals across time in the multiverse? Originally, they weren't supposed to come back during Avengers Doomsday. They were going to save them coming back to Secret Wars. But because Deadpool and Wolverine blew up so big, like made so much money, I would not be surprised if they have some small cameo during Avengers Doomsday. But I still think that they're not supposed to be bigger characters in the story until Secret Wars. Like, oh crap, we have to come back to the Void. We were just here. This place sucks. Why are we here? On the other side of the Loki-Thor coin, Chris Hemsworth just did an interview about Avengers Doomsday saying that they would not be doing new Asgard stuff. So he was just being sad about how much he liked doing all the new Asgard stuff in the previous movies and how they weren't going to be doing that during Doomsday. This is what he actually said. Filming the Avengers in Scotland was a really cool experience. He's talking about Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. It doesn't sound like we're coming back for Doomsday, meaning they won't be doing a lot of exterior shots of New Asgard or the Asgardians. But I'd love to not only visit there again, but to film and do more work in the country. The people are amazing. He could also be teasing a little bit of Thor 5 because there's been more talk about them actually doing Thor 5 at this point. You remember that Kevin Feige said that there were only going to be 5 main groups during Avengers Doomsday, and even though Valkyrie's chair showed up during Chair Watch, he did not specifically name the Asgardians. meaning that the Asgardians as a group themselves didn't sound like they were going to be a big part of the actual movie, but Valkyrie herself, like New Asgard, exists during the events of the movie. So they'll probably have to have at least some light reference, but we won't spend a lot of time in New Asgard specifically. Cannot wait to see Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson come back. They've been teasing weird things behind the scenes like, oh, real bummer that we're not coming back as our characters. But really, they're just talking about coming back as their original characters. They'll probably be coming back as multiverse versions, completely different types of characters. We already got a lot of footage of them filming X-Men scenes in their universe with a big Doctor Doom battle going down. There are Sentinels that look just like the classic ones from the 1990s comics and from X-Men the animated series. This is probably, early theory, going to be the X-Men universe that Monica Rambeau got stuck in at the end of the Marvels, just because it sews up a lot of plot threads and explains where a lot of characters are in the MCU so far.
Charles asked for an update. I'll come by and check on you later.
That battle seems like it happens at the very beginning of the movie, and it'll be kind of like the Thor battle with Thanos at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War. Like they open Avengers Doomsday with a big battle scene. Then all those characters travel to the MCU eventually, the survivors of that. Please do not kill off all those X-Men in that opening battle. That would be a huge bummer. When it actually comes to Thor 5, if Marvel does wind up doing a version of that in the next couple of years, what I'd like to see is Doctor Doom kill Thor at the end of Avengers Doomsday is one of the big twists. Like, Thor's meant to be so powerful now in the MCU, would it not make Doctor Doom seem like a much bigger threat if the other Avengers watch as he kills Thor right in front of their eyes? Then at some point, God Loki can help Thor as he tries to resurrect into Rune King Thor in Thor 5, going through all the different trials that he faces in the comics in order to achieve that extra level of power that he became Rune King Thor in the comics. There was like a series of trials that he actually had to go through in order to become that. It just feels like if they're going to do a Thor 5, they have to put Loki in this one. Like, that was one of the big missing things from Thor Love and Thunder. There was no Loki. Just because we're kind of in the middle of Superman week right now, I do have a lot of Superman videos that I'm still working on. I'll post in the next couple of days. But there's also a bunch of Fantastic Four stuff that they've released. A lot of Galactus, a lot of Franklin Richards. So I'll try to do videos for all that stuff too and kind of work it in between my Superman videos. Everybody click here for my Superman alternate ending, deleted scenes, Batman-related stuff, all my other Superman videos, and click here for that other big Avengers Doomsday first look at the Fantastic Four meeting the new Avengers characters and the Black Panther characters. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.